Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I played with a lot of different people, you know.
You did.
I played with a lot of, especially first 3 or 4 years, a lot of Cubans.
Mm-hmm.
They were good ball players. Played with good ball players. And one of them pitchers went to the big league. And I first year I played in my room with him was a guy by the name of Tommy Nature Boy Kirk out of Philadelphia. He was a pro boxer before he went into baseball. I didn't know that when I decided to room with him. But he was really a good guy, but he was unusual. He's unusual. He looked after me, I know that. I think his first trip we made to Raleigh. He had a big second baseman that was, he'd been in pro ball for several years at least.
Mm-hmm. And
I was not too big. I weighed about 175 pounds before I caught a ball game. After I caught it, I weighed about 165 pounds. But I was on first base and hit a ground ball, nobody out, and threw the ball to him, and I was a clean slide. I slid under him real low, but I took him out. He come down pretty hard. He wasn't too dim with his feet at that time, evidently, because he came down pretty hard. And we started getting up. He started grabbing hold of it. And I jumped up. I don't know, that son of a gun getting hold of me. So after he got his stand up, he got close to me, and I kind of dived into him, grabbed him around the waist, was hanging on. And all of a sudden I looked up. I felt somebody over. So I looked up, and it was Kirk, Tommy Kirk, my nature boy. He's the first guy I ever saw. He cut the sleeves out.
Oh, yeah.
Uniform. Cut the sleeves out of the uniform.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know what he did? He was left-hander. He grabbed that guy by the right hand and had him by the collar. And honestly, I believe at times he had his feet off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And he was slapping him front hand and back hand across the face about 6 or 8 times. Pow, 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 pow. And then let him go. And he slumped down on the ground. And I asked him after, the dressing room after, I said, why the devil you hit him with your open hand?
Uh-huh.
And he said, if I'd used my fist, that's a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a professional fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'd hit him with my fist, I'd been breaking the law. Started that last week. He said that his daughter had talked to me and wanted to know if she could date me. And so he says, I told her it would be all right. So he gave his approval for me to date his daughter. And I was 17, she was 60. She just finished her junior year in high school down in Florida. Some of the players I played with in the camp, Billy Goodman, who was with the Red Sox, shortstop, Cliff Bolton, who was a catcher. In fact, he and I called on Martinsville together, 2 catchers. And I looked at the records, and both of them they caught 72 games.
Oh, wow.
We come out exactly even.
Yeah.
Hope Brummett, he probably taught me the most of any manager that I played for, although he wasn't overall a real smart guy. But he had been around baseball, and he hit over 300 every year he played. He never played in the big leagues, but the first ball game I called of the season, my middle of about 34th inning, I got a base hit on us. And when I come back to the dugout, he hollered at me. And I went down where he was at, sitting on the bench. He said, what did he hit? And I said, hit the curveball. And he said, why'd you throw him the curveball? And I told him how I thought we'd set him up for the curveball. And he said, okay. And he was the type of guy that any time a hitter hit the ball real good against you, you come in the dugout, why'd you throw him that pitch? Well, that taught me a lot. In other words, in giving the signals for the pitcher to throw, you should have a reason for signaling that pitch. Why did you throw that pitch? So even though he wasn't directly at it, the question, I don't know whether he's smart enough to realize that what he was doing or not, but saying that to me made me think every time I called a pitch, I need to have a reason for throwing that pitch. I tell you that, I recommended Bob Gibson to the Kansas City. To the Braves.
That's cool.
He was at Creighton University, point guard in basketball, good basketball player. And he played baseball also. When we played him in baseball, he was a pitcher outfielder in college. And so he played center fielder in this ball game. And somebody got a base hit to right center field and it was run on first. So he went to his left, cut the ball off, set up and threw the ball to third base. And he threw a blue dart. The ball come out of his hand, looked like it exploded. My God, I just said it to myself, thinking, man, I'm glad that guy didn't pitch tonight. But he lost ball games in college. He was wild and little, and everything. And he weighed about 155 pounds then. But he's 6'1", 2. But he's skinny. He's a skinny black kid. And then that fall, my brother wrote me a note and said there's a kid by the name of Richard Russell down here, a big kid, that could hit the ball over 400 foot in high school. But he didn't have the arm to pitch, and he didn't have the speed to play a position, or the quickness, or anything. He's just a big kid that can hit the ball a long way. And he said, my brother said that he wanted to try to see if he could get in the Pro Bowl. And I've seen him hit, and I've seen some distances he hit the ball. So when I recommended, I was actually calling Bill Steineke, who was a manager in the Brave system, and I'd gotten to know. And I called him, I told him, there's a big kid down in North Carolina. I said, I'll be frank with you, I don't know what position he play. I'd say, I think probably he'd be limited to first base only. But I said, he can hit the ball. And I said, designated hitter now. And that might be a possibility. And I said, I know he can hit the ball and he hit it a long way. And I said, incidentally, I said, I saw a little skinny black kid at Creighton University and told him just what I just told you, that he threw the ball and he exploded out of his hand. And I said, he's a better basketball player now than he is baseball because he played more basketball. And he said, what's his name? And I told him. About 2 months later, he died. Not the player, but the scout, the manager. He managed in they had a college league out in Nebraska one year. They had the college league there for a while for college players. And he managed in that league. That's why I didn't know it. And so about 2 weeks after, I called him about these players. My brother from down here wrote me a note and said that they'd sent him a contract. And he wouldn't leave home. Wouldn't leave home. So, okay. I still don't know to this day what happened to my recommendation for Bob Gibson. I think I know they thought that he was going to play basketball and wouldn't be available for baseball. And so they passed on him. He played with the Globetrotters 1 year. The next year he decided to go to baseball and he signed with Omaha, who was in the farm club of the St. Louis Cardinals.
And the rest is history.
2 years later, he's in the big leagues. Now he's in the Hall of Fame. And I don't know whether they just threw that his recommendation, but they sent the other guy a contract on my recommendation, but I never got an answer because the guy that I sent the recommendation to died. So I don't know now. And I'm sure that if they still had that recommendation laying around, someone took that thing and burned it. Because they wouldn't want to admit that they'd missed on Bob Gibson. Oh, Jim Mooney. That's an unusual guy that I played against. He played the big leagues for the Cardinals, and I don't know who else. Remember who else? Most of them had the best picking men off the base. You know, didn't get on base. He's a left-hand pitcher, and I tell you one thing: if you got 2 steps off that first base with him with the ball in his hand, he would flatly pick you off. And he got to be a funny. Anytime a rookie come into the league, and I knew the rookie that they were talking about. He come into the league, and he got to first base. First time he got up, he went to first base, and he took his lead off, you know, like he normally would. Big old picked him off by two steps. He pulled his left-handed pitcher, and he pulled his cap down, and hide his left eye. And then he turned his head like this when he come down the top. And you couldn't see his eyes. You couldn't see one eye. But boy, he would pick that leg up, and you'd swear that he's going home with it. So he wouldn't give it up that his foot was actually going toward the first base. Somehow he turned his foot, and you couldn't pick it up on him, but they could. But there's no way, and they said that and I heard a lot of guys say that he's the best guy of picking a man off. They said he'd walk guys sometimes in a close ball game purposely and then pick them off. They didn't know him well. Jim Mooney. And they said that the last he got on base 3 times that night, and the 3rd time he got on, he got picked off the first 2 times. First time 2 steps off. Next time he got 1 step off and leaned, and he picked him off in. Then the 3rd time, he's a real cocky kid. He stood there with right foot one step off of the base, and his left foot he was patting the base. I said, I'm a son of a gun if you didn't pick him off between pats. You patting the base. You picked him off between pads.
What about the guy that was so fast that he got into the...
Oh, that was, infielder for in the Negro League. I asked Bob Buck O'Neill, who was the fastest guy in the league. He told me this guy was. And I'd heard that before, that he was the fastest guy that ever played baseball. And he'd brag about how fast he was. And he'd get on, and Buck told me, right after I asked him what was the big difference in the black league and the white league. He said, he kind of laughed, he said, Ted, when we got on base, we were in scoring position. When he been back, they still play first, second, and third. So he was second if they needed to, still third if they needed to. Said he was in scoring position. I played with Don Gross in the military for 2 years. He was in Cincinnati for 5 years, and then went with the Pirates, and he died last year, I believe.
I think so. How about the guy
Oh,
that
John
bet him?
Zimmer.
How about the guy that bet him that he could get into his bed?
The fastest guy.
Yeah.
Well, he bragged about it because he was so fast. He said he could walk into his hotel room and he could run jump in his bed. He turned the light on by the door. You know, old hotel used to have the switch right by the inside of the door.
Sure.
He said he could turn the lights on and run jump in bed before the lights went out. And he bet guys, got a whole bunch of guys betting on that. He couldn't do that. Well, he played with Philadelphia. And so he knew the maintenance man in the hotel. And he told him what was going to happen. And he said, I'll give you some money if you'll do this for me. So I was just put a delayed reaction on that light on the inside door of such and such a room. Said, there'll be a bunch of guys coming up there. And you come watch it if you want to. He had a bunch of guys there, and he said, Buck told me he won a bunch of money on that. Because the light delayed before it went out. He got in the bed and run jumped in the bed before the lights went out. Cool Papa Bell was his name. Cool Papa Bell.
It's a good name.
Fastest guy that ever played baseball. Don Zimmer. Don would come into the league as a rookie, and he was a hot dog. I admit that he was kind of a show-off and wanted everything to be his way and everything. This was in the Dodger organization. He signed with the Dodgers. He started out as an outfielder, and he come in as an infielder, played some in the infield as a major leaguer. But his longevity was in the assistant coaches. He assistant coached in about half the ball clubs in the major league. And he was the guy that his pitcher, they got in a fight with Boston. Yankees got in a fight with Boston. And this pitcher grabbed Zimmer by the shoulders and kind of pulled him down to the ground. He come out there and wanted to fight when he's about 60 years old. And they said he threw him to the ground. He didn't actually pull, he just kind of pulled him down. He come in with his head down, went at him, he just grabbed him by the shoulders and put him down.
I remember that.
Anyway, he was playing left field. And there was one out. And hit a ball to left field, fly ball to left field, and it was fairly short to left field. It was too short for a guy with no more speed than Zimmer had. He didn't have real good speed. Zimmer was on third base, left field, and he said, "Oh, wait, we'll catch it." And I set up, give him the belly, get in position to block the plate just as soon as I got the ball dropping, knee down, block the plate. And I did that, tagged him out by a full step. And I put my leg up and turned around and started to take my mask off. Pulled my mask off, and he went around me to go back to the dugout, and he kicked at me. When he kicked at me, I took off after him. And I had my mask in my hand, and he ran in the dugout and I threw my mask at him and hit the face under the dugout as he went down. And then the guy from that ball club of theirs come out of the dugout or anything. They knew he was wrong all the way. And nobody come to help him at all. That was my association with Don Zimmer. And I never did particularly like him because of his being a hot dog. Ray Scarborough, that's a picture from up here. Dave McNally. And Dick Hauser was the guy that I worked with at baseball school several times. He was he was Billy Martin's pitcher coach, third base coach, excuse me. Dick was a real good guy. I mean, he was great. I worked with him enough that I knew and I trusted him and everything. And I said to him one day, I said, Dick, I said, I'm going to give the instructions on the infield today. And I said, I'll start with fielding the ball and then position play. I said, I want you to stay with me. I want to know after I get through with it whether or not the Yankees have a better system. Whether they teach it any better. And honest to God, when I got through, I said, Dick, what do you think? Don't change a thing, he said. Your system is better than what we're teaching. We're taught to go over and put your foot on the base and throw the guy out of second. I said, what about if it's off one way or the other? Well, he has to grab it, go grab it. I said, if it's off to one way, he's not in position where he can go and then put his foot. No. And Dick was an infielder himself. He got run over at shortstop on the double play ball. Tore his leg up and he lost his speed. But he knew baseball, and he would keep me posted on how things were going between Billy Martin and Steinbruner. You know, Steinbruner fired him 3 times.
Oh, he did?
And last time he fired him, he came over on a Tuesday, I believe it was. I was at the camp we were working at the school. Was at the end of the computer line north of New York City, up toward Poughkeepsie. He would come over and work quite often at the school in the morning when they were at home games. When they had a night game, he'd come over and work over there. And I got to know him then. Then he got cancer, and he was managed in Kansas City. Cancer and died, and they had a memorial game for him after his death. And I sat right behind his sister. He left pro baseball for 2 or 3 years, went back to Kansas State where he had played college ball at, and provided a lot of money for him to build a new stadium, baseball stadium. And he was the head coach there for 3 years, I believe it was, at Kansas State. At Florida State. Then he went and took the job as manager of Kansas City.
Okay.
And that's when he had cancer and died. And they thought a lot of him in Kansas City. And he was one of the best guys that I met that had played the big leagues. I never ever proved me wrong that I'm the only person in Columbus County that ever managed a professional baseball team. I don't, I've asked everybody that I thought wanted to know, and nobody's going all the way back to my dad who died, he lived to be 97 and died about 10 years ago. So going back that far, he had never heard of one being from Columbus County. Well, I think that's about all I can think of.